Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. On this Ready for War Wednesday, I'd like to encourage you, and we start with Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. That is Matthew chapter 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Something to think about as we go through another day of war, and to make sure that we keep our shields up and our swords high and ready. We must be reading the word daily so that we can come across verses like this that will help us when the time is right, that will speak to us when we need it most. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. There are many influences out there. We're being spoken to constantly. There are never-ending streams of information. Social media is popular amongst the human populace right now, and people constantly want to get our attention, right? Whether it's entertainment or whatever it may be. Just people want our attention to sell their product, to sell their ideas, whatever it may be. But we must stay close to Christ and remember that nothing is more important than this war. That even when we are doing other things, when we're meeting friends, when we're at work, when we're with family, when we're having a good time, no matter what we're doing, we must be sober and vigilant, because there will be false prophets which come to us in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Next verse I'd like to turn to is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 3 to 5. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 3 to 5. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. I'll just read that one more time. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned, except he strive lawfully. So we must strive through this book, by this book, and grow in our knowledge of this. This is our sword, this is our warfare. This is how we fight the good fight to last for the rest of our lives. This is what will help us to stick on the stone and not be swept away, like those who build their foundations upon sand. Our foundation is upon rock, the rock of Jesus Christ. He is the center of absolutely everything. And so we must remember this and turn back to him constantly back into the word, every single day. Reading, growing in our knowledge of God, understanding of the scriptures. We must endure hardness as a good soldier. Remember, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a good soldier. So, because we get ourselves involved with all sorts of things, we get ourselves involved in a whole bunch of different things that distract us away from the war. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the Bible and the scriptures and God and the proclamation of Christ above everything else. What's most important is that we don't entangle ourselves with the affairs of this life. One thing I used to do when I was in my mid to late teens, I used to various reality television shows, and they'd be such a distraction. But this was before I was taking my faith seriously. This was quite a bit before then, but still, I just think back to how much time that took, and if away from time I could have been spending with God. And I encourage you now to, if you're watching those shows, just consider how much more you could get from opening the Word and growing in your closeness to God and your spirituality in Christ and your spiritual life with Christ and in Christ. You'd be so much stronger than you are today, you know? And who knows what great fruits you could bear if you just turn to Him in sincerity and give so much more of your time to Him, because at the end of the day, all these other distractions are there just to distract us, to take us away from God, to take us away from Christ, so that we can't bear fruit. Remember, the seed that falls on healthy soil, that's what you want to be. You don't want to be the seed that falls on thorny ground, or on stony ground. You won't be able to produce fruits and you'll pass away very quickly, spiritually speaking. And yes, many people die long before they physically die. They die spiritually and then they die physically later. You do not want to be like that. You want to be alive. We're at war. So the best swordsmen during the medieval era, they would have been practicing with their swords every single day. Every single day they would have been trying this cut and that cut, left hand and right hand, sometimes practicing with two people